All right, Craig. Quick one out here in the top of the ninth. I don't know if we're going to get synced up before this actually gets over or not. I'm seeing Steer walk to the plate.
I am just now getting the pop-up.
Steer popped up?
No, Ellie.
Oh, okay. All right.
So if you want to pause it at some point with the pitch clock, I can.
I paused it. Tell me when the first pitch to Steer comes. I already paused it.
All right. Steers the plate. 15, 14, 13, 12. Bednar comes set. 7, 6, the pitch. And Steer smashes it foul down the left field line.
We should be pretty synced.
Close enough.
Craig, how's your day going, brother?
It's going well. This game's going so quick. It's hard to kind of get everything together, get prepped for the show, had to spend some time this morning doing a little research, get everything prepped for the show. And then obviously now as the game's been going on, a super quick one, and just hoping that the Reds can find a way to scrap one across here for tie it up.
Yeah,
how about you?
This will probably be a quick show. Maybe,
yeah.
I'm not gonna have a ton of thoughts on this one.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. I'm doing fine.
Good. Well, I'm sure we'll dive into a number of topics, including Hunter Greene's phenomenal start. I'm sure there will be a conversation to be had around the lineup, as that seems to be a topic of conversation on X.com. I think I know your stance on it. I think our stances are pretty similar, but we'll see where that combo goes. And who knows, maybe we'll have a nice live reaction to some big hit here or something in the ninth to throw on social.
Yeah, Bednar's been a little shaky at times this year. I think he's been pretty good of late, if I remember right from my research coming into this series. Yeah, I think he's got a higher ERA, I think, than Diaz does.
Well, that can't be possible. I've been told that Diaz is the worst closer in baseball.
The history of baseball.
The history of baseball.
Yeah. yeah, man. Bednar has given up runs in 2 of his last 3 outings. So
there you go.
One of them was in Coors, so I don't really know if that even counts. I feel like a Coors run is like maybe worth like a third of a run.
Well, both of the runs he gave up were home runs. So
yeah, all right. Nice if Spencer Steer could
one swing can change it.
Yeah. Yep. That one's not gonna be it.
Won't be that.
Jake Fraley, this would be a good time for your first home run in 6 years.
Oh, man.
I swear, Jake Fraley's had the strangest season that I can ever remember a player based on their expectations. Maybe like the strangest, like not terrible season. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
All right.
All right,
Nick. Let's do a show and talk about this. Let's talk about this.
What did you talk for?
Pitchers duel.
This is the problem. She's a center field. Racing back to the line. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Line to the right field. Genius, the first Red ever. With 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down
Well, hey, what's going on? Welcome into Chatterbox Reds live post game. Nick Kirby, joined by my guy Craig Sandlin. Shout out to everyone joining us today, whether you're joining us on YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram today. We don't always go live on Instagram, but we are able to today. We do this post game show after all 162 Reds games, even a game where the Reds get 2 hits and lose 1-0 to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Craig Sandlin, how you doing, my friend?
Well, we're doing okay, Nick. I mean, it could be better. Obviously offensive struggles today. We'll dig into it a little bit deeper, but happy Juneteenth to everybody, and hope you're enjoying a potential day off for you. And sorry the Reds couldn't get a win to celebrate, but a lot of positives. Certainly some negatives out of today's game. We'll dive into it all.
All right. Well, my friend Craig, do you have the old box score recap for the friends at home?
Well, let me tell you, Nick, there was a lot of action in this game from the very start. No, I mean, look, the box score recap is pretty simple. We'll go through a couple key moments I felt like in the game, and we'll go from there. It starts in the first inning. Hunter Greene hits Brian Reynolds with a pitch. Hunter Greene has struggled with hit by pitches a little bit this year, able to escape the first without any damage. In the second, the Reds went down in order, striking out twice. And then the Pirates would threaten in the bottom of the inning. Rowdy Tellez would strike out looking. And then Ke'Bryan Hayes is hit yet again with another pitch, a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. And then a should-be double play erased Ke'Bryan Hayes from the base paths, but Connor Joe legged it out to be safe at first. Yasmani Grandal then doubles to right field. Joe only able to advance to third, though, as Ellie De La Cruz sprints across the field to cut off the throw from the outfield and hold Connor Joe at third. Hunter Greene would strike out Michael A. Taylor to avoid any damage. The Reds wouldn't get their first base runner of the game until the third. That was a Luke Maile 2-out walk, but they weren't able to do anything with that. Their first hit of the game didn't come until the fifth, a single through the right side by everybody's favorite infielder, Santiago Espinal. Again, no damage done. In the seventh, the Reds went down in order, and then after getting Nick Gonzalez to ground out to Santiago Espinal on his 100th pitch of the day, Rowdy Tellez would double off Hunter Greene to deep center, ending Greene's streak of 14 straight batters retired. Hunter Greene's day would be done as David Bell would turn to Fernando Cruz. Hayes would come up and he would fly out to right. And then Cruz walked Connor Joe, but Yasmani Grandal flew out to right field to end the threat and keep the score tied at 0 heading to the eighth. Hunter Greene's final stat line on the day, 6 1/3 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 9 strikeouts on 106 pitches. In the eighth, the Reds threatened really their first and only threaten of the entire day. They would get their leadoff man on in the eighth as Stuart Fairchild would work a walk to start the inning. Bell would then pinch hit for Jeimer Candelario, who was 1 for 8 lifetime with 8 strikeouts against Mitch Keller coming in. The Pirates, despite those odds, would counter with Colin Holderman. Keller would finish the day with only 83 pitches. Candelario would swing at the first pitch, flying out to right field. Fairchild would then steal second during Luke Maile's at-bat, but get stranded as Maile struck out swinging, and Jonathan India would ground out to third. Final stat line for Mitch Keller, 7+ innings, 2 hits, no runs, 7 strikeouts. And then in the bottom of the eighth, pinch hitter Jack Sawinski would strike out against new pitcher Nick Martinez to start the inning, and then Andrew McCutchen flew out to right before Brian Reynolds takes a changeup to deep center field for a home run to give the Pirates the 1-0 lead, which would ultimately be the final as the Pirates turn to David Bednar in the ninth, gets Ellie to pop up in the infield, Steer to fly out to right, and Fraley to fly out to center. Reds lose 1-0 and drop to 35-39 on the season.
Craig, that was truly a incredible effort to get that many words out of that baseball game. I have no idea how you did it. An unbelievable performance. If the Reds offense would have had that kind of performance, We'd have won the baseball game. That was a great part. All right. You may not believe it. We don't have a DSC deep drive of the game in this one. Shout out as always to DSC for sponsoring this show. Deep South Commodities, they are a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production. They specialize in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thanks as always to our friends at DSC. All right, so let's start off with Hunter Greene. He was incredible today. The Reds pitching overall just continues to be incredible. Very unfortunate. Reds have allowed 10 runs in the last 5 games, and they are 1-4. That is about as brutal of a stat as you could possibly have. But Hunter Greene just continues to get almost better and better. Not with every start, because he still has had some ups and downs. But, I mean, a 3.35 ERA. We're into late June now. Today, he only allowed 4 hard hit balls. He really mixed up his pitches as well. He threw a splitter 13 times, curveball 4 times, just absolutely dominated the Pirates. And I don't think you can say enough great things about Hunter Greene and where he's at right now.
No, you've got to give a ton of credit to Hunter Greene. Obviously, a great outing from him. Matches his career high with 9 strikeouts on the day. You know, the one thing that people will complain about, and it's, you know, it is what it is the 106 pitches in 6 1/3 innings. Would have liked to see him continue to go a little bit deeper. You know, who knows what would have happened if he would have been able to get through the 7th. You just never know. At the end of the day, you know, Hunter Greene now against the Pirates in his career, 5 starts. He's 0-2 with a sub-2 ERA with 29 innings pitched. He's now got 42 Ks in those 29 innings. And 0-2 despite giving up, you know, only I think 6 runs in those outings now, 5 runs. But in those 5 games, the Reds have given him a total of 5 runs of support, and that's just not going to get it done against any team. The one thing, again, just to call it out, the free passes for Hunter Greene have been a little bit of a concern coming into today in June. He had given up 15 free passes in 17 2/3 innings, you know, so and then obviously he gave up the 2 hit by pitches today. For the most part, he worked the zone, but he just I don't get the feeling that despite his stuff that he really attacks it as much as he could. I feel like given the stuff that he has, he could probably attack even more and keep that pitch count down. But his batting average against during in June probably dropped now, but coming into today, 172 batting average against despite a 329 on base percentage because of those walks. So that's the one concern, obviously, is the free bases. Nick Lodolo's obviously hit a couple batters as well. Those are more so on the curveball that could also result in strikeouts because they hit the back foot. But I think that one thing that I'd like to see out of Hunter Greene is obviously reducing the pitch count. That's been a complaint of fans for a while. But it's really hard to complain giving up 0 runs over 6 1/3 innings, 2 hits. But if you're going to find something to complain about, I guess it's the pitch count, because they should have been able to go 7+, having only given up 2 hits.
Yeah, and we'll jump into the offense. I saved this super chat for when we would go into the offense, because obviously this is the topic of conversation right now. Thank you, MJD11, for your super chat. This is inexcusable from Bell. Fairchild in, Candelario out, Stevenson not DHing. He basically punted this game against one of the best pitchers in the NL Central. Hunter deserves better. Make it make sense. What was the tweet? Did you have the tweet from Charlie Goldsmith before the game that actually kind of headlined why the moves were? I know Stevenson.
Well, look, I mean, I tweeted it a little bit during the game as well, because I was going back and forth with a fan on social. But at the end of the day, I mean, David Bell's very particular in the way that he works his lineups. He believes in the stats and in what he sees on paper. You know, you mentioned it last night on the show. TJ Friedel obviously gets hurt, so probably not a conversation. But he's 1 for 17 lifetime against Mitch Keller. Tyler Stevenson 1 for 12 with 6 strikeouts against Keller. Candelario 1 for 8 with 4 strikeouts against Keller. Like, a lot of people are arguing for people to be in the lineup that haven't really earned their way into the lineup against Mitch Keller long term. And so I'm not saying that this was the greatest lineup, but when you look at it top to bottom, you take those numbers and you compare it to Jonathan India, 5 for 12 with 5 walks and only 1 strikeout. Spencer Steer, 4 for 7 with a double, a home run, and RBI, 2 walks and no strikeouts. Jake Fraley, 3 for 8 with a walk and 1 strikeout. I mean, it's just like, I get the frustration, but I guess the problem is I'm not really sure what you're expecting. I think the one complaint that I have is that if David Bell's going to follow the stats, that I would have liked to have seen Nick Martini DHing and Jake Fraley in the outfield in this game instead of Jacob Hurtubise. Martini came into today 2 for 2 against Mitch Keller with an RBI. He's the only one that I saw that I felt like maybe deserved to be in the lineup and would have been in the lineup that probably could have changed it. But at the end of the day, we have to give Mitch Keller his credit too. And I saw that you mentioned this on social media, but Mitch Keller, a little bit of a rough outing last time against Seattle on June 13th, or not against Seattle, against St. Louis, where he gave up 4 earned runs. But in his 6 previous starts before that start, he was 6-0 with a 39 2/3 innings pitched and only 5 earned runs during that time period. Like, this is a good pitcher, right? So people in the chat want to say, "Oh, only 8 at bats is worthy of consideration and it is a good sample size." No, but if you're going to say that 8 isn't a good sample size, then how are you going to turn around and say that 7 is a good sample size with Steer, or 12 is a good sample size with India? Like, you have to take it for what it is. Mitch Keller has faced the Reds a lot, but he hasn't necessarily faced this team a whole lot. I mean, active Reds against Keller are 17 for 74 coming into today with a 230 batting average, striking out 19 times and only 1 home run. The starters were 12 for 30, and the people that were on the bench were 5 for 44. Like, and that takes into account Nick Martini, who was 2 for 2. For if you take those away, 3 for 42. Like, what are we doing here? I don't understand how people can look at the data and legitimately say, "Oh, Jeimer Candelario should have been in despite the fact that he's hurt," or Tyler Stevenson should have been out in despite the fact that he strikes out half the time that he faces Mitch Keller. Like, it just, to me, it's silly. I have to disagree with a lot of what I saw on social media. Nick, I know you disagree with it some too, but like, the lineup is what it is. There were injuries, but at the end of the day, they also played the matchup, and it didn't work out today. But we have to give credit where credit's due, and Mitch Keller threw a great game. I thought the Reds were aggressive early in the count. Mitch Keller is a guy that throws 6 pitches regularly, and you got to attack a pitch when you get it, because otherwise you may not see a good pitch to hit the rest of the at bat. So I don't know what to tell you. It just kind of is what it is. It's a frustrating day, and I get the frustration from Reds fans, but the end of the day, you got to win a ball game where your starting pitcher gives up 2 hits over 6 1/3 inning, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, I think Friedel, Candelario, and Martini would have been in the game today if they were healthy. I don't care if Friedel was 0 for 50 against Mitch Keller. I think he would have been in the game with an off day tomorrow, but he's clearly, he's hurt. The Reds are evaluating if, he probably needs to be put on the IL or not. And look, I mean, Candelario had an at bat. He didn't look like he was necessarily 100% when he came up to the plate. And then Nick Martini would have surely been in the lineup today. Charlie Goldsmith said hit by a pitch on the hand, wrist on Monday, which was the reason why he was out of the lineup. And so, I mean, I know I saw some people say, well, put Martini on the IL. Who are we calling up to replace him? I mean, we've already called up Connor Capel. He didn't look great. We've already called up Blake Dunn. He didn't look great. I mean, there's not really any better options. Just kind of we're in a just an unfortunate spot today with kind of the injuries. And again, I said it last night. Again, I'm fine with them holding off on TJ Friedel as long as they can. He's so valuable to this team. If he has to if you have to waste a roster spot on the, have to waste a roster spot for the next 5 or 6 games because he might be able to, not use that whole IL time, then I'm fine with that. Again, who are you calling up? That's what I want to know. Who are you calling up from AAA right now that is going to help this team win a game? there's no one like at AAA. It's just like the same situation we were with Mike Ford, where we want to make a move just to make a move. It just was kind of an unfortunate spot today. You have to hope and pray that the TJ Friedel and Gamer Candelario, both of those guys, they're able to heal up and be ready on Friday, because this team, without both of those guys, again, it's just a very, very poor lineup.
Yeah, it's a poor lineup. It'll be interesting to see. Again, I'm speaking from my understanding and my belief of what David Bell would do, right? Whether or not I agree with that, it doesn't matter. Like, that's what David Bell is, and that's what how he manages, and that's what he's going to do. It's just what he's done his entire career. I don't think that changes. One thing that'll be interesting to see, and we'll talk about it later, is that, hopefully, obviously, Candelario is healthy and able to come back. But Santiago Espinal's 2 for 4 with an RBI against Cutter Crawford, who the Reds will face on Friday. Candelario will have a day off tomorrow to try and rest up and continue to get healthy. Steer 0 for 0 with 1 walk. Like, the Reds have very limited exposure to Cutter Crawford. How David Bell manages that lineup, we'll be interested to see too. Like, I think realistically is that Reds fans have become accustomed to questioning David Bell in every single decision he makes, and that's just not going to change. And so, we can sit on the show after every single game and question every single move he makes. Do we want to question the move to Nick Martinez today? I don't know. Do we want to question the move to Fernando Cruz in the 7th? There's lots of questions that can be asked, but I don't know realistically what you can expect. At the end of the day, Nick Martinez has to make pitches. He has to record outs. He can't give up home runs. The team defensively and on the pitching staff did what they were supposed to do. Just offensively couldn't put it together. I don't know. I don't know what to tell people.
Yeah, Nick Martinez's usage is a little interesting to me, because this is a guy that was obviously a starter to start the year. Then he was moved into like this hybrid role where it felt like the Reds were trying to get multiple innings out of him at a time. The last couple times out, he's only been, pitching 1 or 2 innings. So that's a little different. I don't know necessarily if I hate the move. I don't know. Maybe, you should have left in Fernando Cruz. He only got to get 2 batters out. He did walk a batter, so he faced 3 batters in the inning of work. We've said it before. I'm a little concerned about the Reds' overall usage of Fernando Cruz, but if he's already in the game, he's already had to get warmed up. I mean, I don't know how much more it would have been to maybe try to get a couple more outs out of him. But again, what your other options? Lucas Sims. I mean, I don't think anyone that's complaining about using Nick Martinez wanted to see Lucas Sims. So again, I mean, Martinez has been really great all year out of the bullpen. Just a very, very unfortunate spot, for him to give up a home run. And I think he also gave up a run, or might have been on an error on Sunday, in his outing. Just 2 really kind of unfortunate, spots for him to give up a run. But yeah, on the offense, I know we talked a lot about how on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, in those losses, or not Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, we talked a lot in those losses about how the Reds had a lot of hard hit balls. They did not tonight. They had 2. There was nothing positive to take from the offensive performance today. But again, you have to tip your hat a lot to Mitch Keller. I mean, this guy's probably going to be an all-star. He's got a lower ERA than the guy that we're all gawking about in Hunter Greene. He's had an incredible year. He's an incredible pitcher, and he dominated a lineup that isn't great today. But again, if you had TJ Friedel and Jamer Candelario in the lineup today, I don't know if we're having a different post-game show right now. I think it's probably the same. I think Mitch Keller was going to dominate just about whatever the Reds ran out there today. And just, kind of unfortunate.
Well, again, I think you put those 2 in the lineup, and then we have the same conversation about whether or not the lineup was right, because it could have been Steer, who's 4 for 7, or it could have been somebody else. Like it regardless of what decisions David Bell makes, the fan base is going to complain and say that he made the wrong decision. So I don't know. I'm with you. I think you tip your cap to Mitch Keller, who's now gone 6+ innings in 7 straight outings. He's a good pitcher. I just don't really know what more to say about it other than you just tip your cap to him and you move on. I mean, you've got a day off tomorrow before a home series against Boston, and try to pick up the weekend series. I mean, the difficult part here, Nick, is obviously you drop another series to an in division opponent, and that's what's tough, right? Is that you came into today with identical records, and it would have been nice to leave Pittsburgh with the lead in the standings, but game 69, or I can't do math. I don't know what it is. Game 74. We got time. And you're only 2 games back of the Cardinals in second place. So, and you face the same Pittsburgh team at home next week. So opportunities abound. I don't know. I see all the comments in the chat, and I see the negativity around the lineup and the negativity around the team as a whole. So I don't really know a whole lot what to say about that other than we choose to have different outlooks on this team and on life, I guess. The people who live their life focused on negativity and on, focusing on the negative stuff. I hope that you live a happy life outside of Cincinnati Reds, because if your life is anything like the way you treat the Cincinnati Reds, it's probably pretty miserable.
All right, I did see something in the chat that I think is maybe a little interesting about should the Reds have pitched to Brian Reynolds. We'll get to that in just a second, but first, I want to tell you about our friends over at the Game Time app. The Game Time app is an authorized ticket marketplace for Major League Baseball. That makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer that it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in pricing, views from your seat, and the lowest price guaranteed, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. They have all-in pricing. You can toggle this feature, and it shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CINCY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code CINCY, CINCY, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Lowest price, last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And we also want to take a quick message that you can call or text 988 anytime at all, day or night. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is a place to get support for anything related to mental health. Whether in an immediate crisis, simply wanting to find out how to connect with care, or anything in between, it's a 100% confidential, secure, and anonymous way to reach out for help when you don't know where else to turn. To connect, call or text 988 or visit mantherapy.org to get help. It's okay not to be okay. All right. So I guess the pitching to Brian Reynolds, I don't ever think you want to put the winning run on base. Oneil Cruz is a very capable hitter behind him. Behind Oneil Cruz is Nick Gonzalez, who's been absolutely on fire, a top 100 prospect, guy the Pirates really believe in. I don't think you pitch around him. I think, certainly, Nick Martinez wants that pitch back. He wants to pitch better to Brian Reynolds, but I don't think you can really just try to pitch around in that spot.
Well, no, I think the Reds had a plan. Their plan was for Nick Martinez to come in, get the Reds out of the 8th by facing Sawinski in this situation, or Michael A. Taylor, and then McCutchen and Reynolds. And the goal was then to turn to Sam Moll in the 9th to face Oneil Cruz, who's a lefty, Gonzalez, and then Rowdy Tellez, who's a lefty. And so your expectation and your goal was to get the 3 guys out who were right-handed batters so that you could turn to a left-hander in Sam Moll in the 9th to try to do the matchups there. It's just, Brian Reynolds, again, small sample size as people want to lean on, but Brian Reynolds 0 for 2 lifetime against Nick Martinez with a strikeout. It's not like they had any reason to really believe that Brian Reynolds was going to smash Nick Martinez. His splits, Brian Reynolds is a good hitter. I want to make sure that that's clear. He's faced right-handed pitchers about twice as much as he's faced lefties. He's a switch hitter, obviously. So, ultimately, Versus righties, he hits 269. Versus lefty, he hits 284. I just think that the Reds had a plan, and the plan was to hopefully Nick Martinez gets through the eighth, 1, 2, 3, and then they turn to Sam Moll in the ninth to go 1, 2, 3, including 2 left-handed batters. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with necessarily pitching to Brian Reynolds. The one thing, I guess, if you're going to say anything, is don't leave the ball up. But like Brian Reynolds doesn't necessarily have a cold zone on the heat map, so like you just gotta give him your best pitches and see what happens. And he took a change up to dead center, like he did what good hitters do.
Yeah, I don't think you can ever, walk a guy. And I mean, O'Neal Cruz, he really struggled in March, but in May he had an 820 OPS. June he had an 801 OPS. So he's no slouch. And I'm not putting a guy with decent speed with Reynolds on base. I don't think you ever. I mean, unless you have Luke Maile on deck. I mean, I'm not ever walking and putting the tying run on base. I just don't think that's a good strategy. There's millions of studies that would show you that, you're it's not a good idea to try to pitch around guys in that kind of spot. So, yeah, I can't get behind that one. Craig, you got anything else about this riveting baseball game here today?
I mean, shout out to Fernando Cruz. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think a whole lot has to be said, but shout out there.
Shout out to Sam Moll. Yeah.
Shout out to Sam Moll, came in and got that strikeout big time. Yeah, I know. I just, I don't know.
A shout out to Santiago Espinal. He got one of the 2 hits. Shout out to Jonathan India. He got one of the 2 hits. India's playing well. A lot of credit to him and kind of his turnaround. All right, let's get into some Reds minor league action. And then we'll take a quick look at the next series for the Reds, and then we'll get out of here. The only game, well, there's 2 games that have gone on so far. Daytona, they lost to Dunedin 3-2. Tortugas fall to 31 and 34 on the season. Sammy Stafura and Ricardo Cabrera were both 1 for 3 with a walk. E. Smith Pineda 0 for 3 with a walk. Ariel Almonte 0 for 4. Dunedin had an interesting player get 2 plate appearances in this game. His name was Joey Votto. He made his 2024 professional debut. He was 0 for 1 with a walk. So I guess he's going to be rehabbing in the series. So that'll be kind of interesting, fun that he's playing the Reds affiliate this week in Daytona. The ACL Reds lost to the DSL Reds lost 9-5 to the DSL Orioles Orange. That's not the Dominican team that has the players that we've been tracking. That team, the DSL Rojas, was off today. Coming up still today, Dayton takes on West Michigan at 6:35. Chattanooga takes on Pensacola at 7:05. Louisville 8:05 matchup against Omaha. Connor Phillips will be on the mound again. Hopefully tonight is the night that he can get back on track. And then 9 o'clock, the ACL Reds will be in action. Up next for the Reds, another tough challenge. The Boston Red Sox come to Great American Ballpark. They have won 4 in a row. They're 39 and 35 on the season. They play tonight at 7:07 at the Toronto Blue Jays. It'll be Andrew Abbott going up against Cutter Crawford. Crawford is having a really good year for the Red Sox. This is it's not going to get any easier for the Reds this weekend, Craig.
No, I mean, Cutter Crawford's a good pitcher. Last time out against the Yankees, 6 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 9 strikeouts against that team. He debuted in 2021 and has really improved every single year that he's been in the majors. He throws 5 pitches, 3 of which he throws 20% of the time or more. That's his 4-seamer, his cutter, and his sweeper. He also has a split finger and a knuckle curve that he goes to. So yet another guy with multiple pitches that the Reds seem to struggle with. His career against the Reds, 1 appearance, 2/3 of an innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 2 walks. In his last start, he did get his last start was against the Yankees. I already touched on that. Stats against current Reds, not a whole lot to go off of here. Stevenson 0 for 1, Steer for 0 for 0 with a walk, India 0 for 0 with a walk, Fraley 0 for 1, Candelario 1 for 1 with a double, Maley 0 for 2 with a strikeout, and Espinal 2 for 4 with an RBI and a strikeout. Nick, I talk about it seemingly every other time I'm on this show, but the Reds just struggle with guys who have a deep pitch repertoire, in my opinion. So this will be yet another difficult challenge for them. Andrew Abbott, on the other hand, the one concern for me out of Andrew Abbott is last 2 starts, he's walked 7 combined batters. He's only faced 1 current Red Sox, and that's Tyler O'Neill, who's 0 for 2 against him. So let's see if Andrew Abbott can make it past the 5th inning this time out, and hopefully pick up a nice start and a Friday night win for the Reds.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing for Andrew Abbott is the Red Sox have a ton of left-handed batters in that lineup. They have 3 guys that they typically platoon, but they still will have 3 other lefties in that lineup. So, maybe a decent matchup for Andrew Abbott. But this is going to be a tough series for the Reds. They're going to face Nick Pivetta on Saturday, who's having a great year as well. The Red Sox haven't announced their starter yet for Sunday. Neither have the Reds. Reds would be Connor Spires' turn in the rotation. Of course, the Reds could go back to Nick Lodolo on normal rest if they choose to. Red Sox are in the same spot. They have a 4-man rotation right now, but they haven't announced their starter. They have Tanner Houck, who could pitch. He's got a 2.14 ERA. So hopefully, be nice if the Reds could catch a break here. The Red Sox decide, hey, we're going to give him an extra day of rest, bring up another starter for that game. Because if not, I mean, the Reds are facing 3 really, really good starting pitchers this entire weekend against the Red Sox. All right, Craig, any other final thoughts before we wrap this bad boy up?
No. I'll just say this. Chat, we love you. I know that days like this bring out a lot of conflict. And that's fine. I think ultimately, if we're being honest, this show thrives when there is conflict to be had. So if you don't agree with my takes or Nick's takes or Trace's takes when he's on or anybody else, great. We want to hear your feedback. Go ahead and share it in the chat. Share it as a comment on the stream afterwards. Give us a dislike on YouTube if you really want. I mean, engage all you want.
Whoa.
But look, I mean, I think at the end of the day, our job is to give our opinions. I said it in the chat. We do it in a way that I hope that you take as respectful as possible. We're certainly not here to attack anybody in their opinions. You're welcome to your opinion, just like we're welcome to ours. If we happen to have different opinions, then that's fine. But my opinion is based on data and facts, and your opinion is based on how you feel. So,
yeah. Teach their own. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, everyone. We'll have a podcast up. Tomorrow is obviously. I'll run through all the Reds minor league action. I'll try to get another podcast up for Friday morning. Do a little bit more digging into the series against the Boston Red Sox. But we'll talk again soon. Take care, everyone.